Philosophy and religion are often seen as different. In religion, one has to place faith in something that one cannot observe, one cannot reason through with mathematics. In philosophy, it's a different story. One proves one's ideas through either ideological contemplation or mathematical theorem, observable universal quantities. Now, in religion, there is often demand of faith of something that we isn't immediately apparent to the average person. The average person cannot see or hear or sense in any other way the teachings about either God or gods or spirits that would necessitate evidence in many philosophical systems. In Hinduism, one does not have to believe this or that. There's not a dogma that one has to believe in order to be Hindu. It's a very open religion, and that basically even accepts agnosticism, openness to God, but even a non-belief in God at the same time. If someone wants to be Hindu but still believes that God doesn't exist. That's why Hinduism has brought so many different kinds of cultures and spiritual and philosophical and religious ideas into one system, one Eastern Hindu system. And this is what makes it appealing to many people in the West, even though it's more likely somebody in the West would be Buddhist than Hindu if they were like whites or if they were any other race besides Indian. And even if they were Indians, it's less likely that they would be Hindu if they're separate from India. If they don't have family in India, if they don't go to India, if they didn't come from India. And but Hinduism is very unique in this sense. Other religions like Christianity, it demands that you follow a certain line of rules, of dogma, of understandings and beliefs, particularly geared toward one current, one outlook, one perspective. In Christianity, you have to believe that Christ is God's one and only Son, and that God exists and He's separate from creation. He looks down on us, that we can't see Him, but He does exist. These basic things in Christianity one has to believe in order to be Christian, and follow the commandments, of course, and take Revelation, the New Testament, at its word, that these things will happen, and that basically after Christ's resurrection and death, eventual death, basically you have to decide that, okay, well, our prophet has come, our Messiah has come, rather, and He's the one Son of God. And basically all we have to look forward to is the end days, the end times, the end of it all. The period at the end of the sentence that is Christianity. And it's the same with Islam and Judaism, still waiting for the Messiah. But it's even more dogmatic in the rules, following Abrahamic code. But the religions of the West, and when I say that I mean Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, they do not accept as many variations in belief as Hinduism does, or even Buddhism does to a certain extent. And Buddhism has become more atheistic than any other religion, but like Paramahansa Yogananda, I don't believe that Buddha himself didn't believe in God, but that he believed you can become one with that source, the ultimate the ultimate and ever-expanding superconsciousness. But he didn't call it God. These different rules in different religions, when there is the dogma that says their followers have to believe this, have to do this, they draw lines between people. And philosophy does the same thing, actually. If it's Marxist philosophy, if it's Marx and Engels, the Communist Manifesto, then the fat cats at the top, the kings and queens and royalty, are basically to be looked down upon, and something that is separate from the people. The ones who rule by being supported by money and wealth, those are to be looked down upon. People that aren't a part of the people beyond that, and which is the vast majority of people. In I guess you could say hedonism. Um, one basically doesn't believe in anything that one can see, but one feels pleasure, so one should believe that pleasure is the only thing that can be achieved and observed as being as observed by our own feelings, by our own feeling of pleasure, as being the end goal, because that is the ultimate reality of being a human being trying to feel good. And if we go to someone like Voltaire, he's trying to be free from religion, free from the controllers, similar to the Communist Manifesto actually, but the controllers are instead the highest people in different religions, whether it be Christianity, Islam, Abrahamic faith, or any other religion, trying to be free from those who just use this, according to Voltaire, fake idea of God to control other people, trying to be free from that. And that draws lines between atheists and religious people, if one is someone who looks up to Voltaire. If one looks at Nietzsche, then and reads his writings, Nietzsche's writings, one would and likes them and supports them and believes that way, then one would see power as the ultimate goal. The power and self-empowerment of seeking a higher status and ability for oneself, and that in truth other religions and philosophical ideas are stripping oneself of power, of the power one can gain through strength. And for Nietzsche, strength is the only power. As I understand Nietzsche, I could be wrong, but as I understand Nietzsche, and I'm very much simplifying what his beliefs were, but this is how I interpret his beliefs, that power for oneself, strength for oneself, is the only truth, the highest truth at the very least. So one should seek it regardless of what religious people try to tell you about selflessness, or what other people who aren't religious try to tell you about being compassionate and helping other people. It's all about the powerful ruling through their ability, their willpower. I've only listened to a few different philosophical ideas, and we can even go to Socrates, the dialectic method, and the Socratic method, the ability to engage oneself in understanding his surroundings through basic comprehension and division of the different parts of one's surroundings, the ideas that surround oneself, and the people who surround oneself, employing different ideas. The breaking down of truth, the breaking down of existence, and the understanding of it. The Socratic method is something that I actually very much admire. That's why it's hard for me to describe. But Socrates was very great in the fact that he didn't want power, he didn't want wealth. He wanted to look at the people in power and basically break down their ideas, why they believe this and that. And usually why they believe something in Athens, in ancient Athens, was because it benefited them as people on the top. And that's why so many young people who were not royalty, not wealthy, followed him, because this was a new idea showing how the old authority was full of themselves. And that's something that Socrates has communicated to the extent that he is a well-known Western, not only philosopher, but ideologue that we still employ today through the Socratic method. I'm almost done talking about philosophy and religion, but the last thing I like to say is that philosophy isn't inherently different than religion, and religion isn't inherently different from philosophy, because a lot of the same ideas apply. A lot of the same practicality of instituting the ideas apply, and the thought forms that compose both of them, on a basic level, not when you get to the higher unifications, but on a basic level of division, the thought forms, despite claiming difference, are just the same as when you get to the ultimate level of both. And it all comes down to our emotional attachment to certain ideas and what we are prone to believe based on what we want to believe. But philosophy and religion are two very vast topics that I can't even really get into right now. But I really appreciate you watching. And if you had any thoughts or any comments throughout this whole thing, just shoot them down there to the comment section. And if you like this video at all, if any of it sounded interesting, hit that thumbs up. And I will see you in the future. Thank you for watching.